What's up, Pure Physique fam? Corey Beth here with a really interesting question that I should say is probably more of a quote that I read. And I was like, oh, wow, that was actually probably most of my life. And I think for many of you, maybe that was or is your life too. So the question is, are the hard things easy or are the easy things hard? And so I just want you to kind of like think for yourself for a moment. What is the answer to that question? Do you feel like maybe in your life the easy things are hard and the hard things are easy? Or is it one, is it the other? Like, where do you fall upon that spectrum of hard and easy things? Because you know, and I know people that fall amongst all of them. In fact, I can think about one specific person in my life previously, not anymore, because we have to make choices about stuff like that. But one person that was in my life where everything was always like a big deal. Everything was hard. Nothing ever went the way this person wanted it to go. And this person would do and go to wonderful things and places and had, dreams and goals and aspirations. But every time this person came back, it was like, and this happened wrong, and that happened wrong, and this didn't go, and this didn't flow, and this got canceled, and this was late. And I was like, oh my gosh, like you are the one person in the whole wide world that I would never want to travel with, because no matter where you go, the shoe always falls. I mean, it's insane when you think about that and you wonder, is that just by chance, or is that a function of maybe the beliefs that we have about the world and people, and who knows, right? I don't think that we'll ever be able to prove that. Maybe we will. That would be really, really amazing. But then I have other friends where they're like, oh my gosh, and we got an upgrade, and then this happened, and it was amazing. Where do you fall in that? Do you feel like there's hard things in your life that perhaps are easier? Do you feel like there's easy things in your life that you're making hard? And maybe you have both. I think that that's fine too. In fact, there's things in my life right now where I'm like, yes, those hard things, maybe they look easy to you guys, and I do them, but there's also some easy things that I make really stupid difficult that I don't have to. And this quote actually came from John Assaraf. And so he was featured in the movie The Secret, the book The Secret. I don't know if you guys have ever read that, but it really all is about the manifestation of our dreams, using our vibration, using our thoughts and our words, and understanding that everything that we do has an emotional resonance. So here's the activity I really want you to think about right now. And I'm going to read this word for word to you because I just thought it was so beautiful. And it says, when we want to have a thriving mindset, it says that individuals with a positive mindset are constantly open to new life exercises and self-improvement. They cherish learning. Oh, that's so good, right? They cherish learning and welcome chances to develop professionally and personally. They esteem staying sharp and discover fun and testing approaches to keep their psychological well-being. How do you learn? So this author is saying, I choose to listen to the book in self-development every single day. I listen to audiobooks when I drive. I meditate before I go to bed. I practice mindfulness frequently throughout the day. And I will finish this by sharing a quote that resonates with me. And it says, when you're in good physical, emotional, and spiritual health, the hard things are easy. When we're not in good physical, emotional, and spiritual health, the easy things are hard. And I just thought that was so beautiful. So that's John Assaraf actually quoted that little last piece of it. And Helen Reed was the author of that. It's all about developing your best self. So where are you in that? And if you notice that there's maybe one area of your life where things are a little bit harder, what do you have to do there to develop? And so when we think about our physical, our emotional, and our spiritual, I mean, that kind of encompasses like the mind, body, spirit, and our soul, like our spirit, okay, all those pieces together, who we are. And that's why we walked through identity exercises together. That's why we talk about our vision and really casting a vision, because when we don't have those things, it becomes really hard to understand why we're even doing what we're doing. And so the point that I really want to make today is, how is your physical health? How is your emotional health? And how is your spiritual health? I'm not here to tell you anything that you don't know or you already know, but I do want to impress upon you the importance of really paying attention to those categories in our life, because they do have a cumulative effect on the way that we deal with life's situations and circumstances. Now, that being said, I think about two specific instances in my life where my health was really poor. I call it the black year, and perhaps you've heard that story, perhaps you haven't. But in the black year, it was like a 13-month span where I was physically assaulted. My head was cracked open. The next couple months, I was involved in a rear end car accident where I had a herniated L4, L5, S1 disc in my back. And that's when the doctor was like, you may not be able to have a healthy pregnancy. Like, you may not be able to carry a baby to full term. It's like, oh my gosh. And then the third of these black year incidences was I was hit in the face at my job and had a fractured septum. So that was really exciting. And I just think about how hard I made all of that because of my physical health that was suffering, because I was eating caramel macchiatos from Starbucks once or twice a day, not eating good food, snacking on munchkins in my classroom when my students weren't there. My emotional health was not good. Everything stressed me out. I'd go home and drink wine, and my spiritual health wasn't there. It was just like, I just kind of like went along with the punches, you know? And then I think about another really hard experience where Mike and I lost a baby at 20 weeks of pregnancy. And even though that for me was the hardest thing that I to date have ever had to experience and go through, a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, you went through that with such grace. But when I look back at this quote and at that part of my life, my physical health was great. I finally took it back and controlled it and said, I don't ever want to be that vulnerable again with the head injury and the nose injury and the back injury. My emotional health was better, where I was really more calm about things. I was more even keel about things. I was taking care of my mental health. And then, of course, my spiritual health took leaps and bounds and growth in that point of my life. And so I want you to just kind of measure yours. And if it's easy for you to say like it's not good or it's great, that's a great scale to measure that stuff on. You guys know I'm all about quantifiable results. Or on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you fall? 10 is amazing, 1 sucks. Where are you on that scale in physical, emotional, spiritual? Where are you? And I think just be honest with yourself on that and which of those really needs to improve and what can you do to improve those things. So I shared something yesterday with my VIP ladies, and it's a very simple activity you can do. And this is what we're going to close with is, what is your vision? What do you really want to achieve when it comes to your health, your fitness, your overall body, your confidence? And once you have that out, there's 2 questions you have to ask yourself. If you want to achieve that vision, what do you have to start doing? So for me in the black year, I had to start being more positive, more intentional, think about what I was eating, move my body. What do you have to stop doing? Okay, so those are the 2 questions. What do I have to start doing? What do I have to stop doing? I had to stop using FML as my mantra of my life. I had to stop, funding the Starbucks that was near my job because I was there all the time. I just had to stop speaking negatively and comparing myself all the time. And when I did those things, the final question of this activity that comes from Brendon Burchard is, what are the goals and deadlines you have for yourself? And so for me, I actually wrote out when I wanted to own a car, when I wanted to own a house, when I wanted to do those things. And one of the goals of mine was actually to host my first family holiday in a new home, which at that point, when I wrote the goals, I thought it would be a townhome, because I was like, okay, I think this is like, what's going to be able to happen in my life. And it was amazing because like when I went back and read that, I was like, oh my gosh, look, we actually did that 2 years sooner than I thought we'd actually be able to do it. And that's why it's so important to measure those areas of our life, but also understand what our vision is for our life. So I don't want you to make the easy things hard. I think it would be amazing if the hard things were a little bit easy. I'm sure that you agree with that, and probably not about the workouts this week. Those have been pretty hard, kicked my butt this morning. But what do you need to do? How can you improve those 3 categories, your physical, your emotional, and your spiritual realm of your life, so that you have a higher resilience, you have more grit, you're able to better handle those difficult situations, because they're going to come. There's no denying that. There's no getting around it or escaping it. And the last final thing that I will leave you with is this, that we have to go through hard things to strengthen us. So it's not that like we go through hard things and maybe we get strengthened. Like if we want to be strengthened and be stronger, we have to go through those hard things and those hard times. And it's never fun to do it, but I do consider it pure joy when I am chosen to walk through some of those harder things, because I know it's always for a greater purpose than I can ever envision in my life. And for us, with health and competing and children and all the wonderful blessings that we have received in our life, I know that I had to walk through those different phases of my life, just like you do. And it's not always fun to do it. But when we get to the other side, when we have that growth mindset, when we are physically, emotionally, and spiritually sound, we are strengthened in ways that we never could have imagined. And I want that for you. So let me know where you are. You can drop that right in the comments below, and looking forward to connecting with you. Have an outstanding day. Mike will be back tomorrow for Flex Friday, and we look forward to seeing you then. Have an outstanding Thursday.